Thank you so much for that introduction. I never thought when I first arrived at the gates of Duke that 4 years later I would find myself graduating with a major in English. In fact, I was certain I would be a basic pre-med, majoring in biology and minoring in something exotic like theater or music that would make me stand out in my medical school application. My sophomore year, in an attempt to cast myself as the rebel in my friend group, which consisted of all basic pre-meds, I announced with resolve that I would major in English. They thought I was joking, and so did I, until I found myself filing for an English BA and donning the I chose English sticker proudly on my chest. "What are you doing?" my parents yelled at me through the phone that day. "What in the world are you thinking?" "I don't know, I wasn't thinking," I wailed back. At least, not with my head. And here's where I would say I was thinking with my heart, but in an attempt not to be cliche, I'll skip that. I had always wanted to be a writer. The allure of being skilled with words had always grasped at me, but never with enough conviction to get me to veer off my expected course. The daydream of being a novelist or an eloquent public speaker remained just that for the first half of my time at Duke, a fantasy confused to the musings of my brain, while I scribbled chicken scratch on my organic chemistry midterms and wailed in despair in my physics labs. But I could only do so much science before I got restless, and the pit in my stomach telling me that I wanted to do something different only grew louder and called my attention with more force. Perhaps it was that desire, to finally acquiesce to my fantasy, to take a step into unknown territory I had never thought to explore, that led my hand to check off English that day. I came into Duke a determined freshman, eager to take my first pre-med requisite, and I'm leaving a washed-up senior carrying back to California a soul battered and bruised by the STEM curriculum. But I'm also leaving a graduate in English, which has a value I'm only fully realizing now. It seems straightforward, but communication is part of everything. It's how we share stories, how we connect with others, how we receive information. Being a good communicator is a necessity in today's fast-paced world, but coming into Duke, I was so bad at it. As a freshman, I couldn't even talk to professors without my brain garbling my words. When internships asked for cover letters, I could barely string together sentences into any kind of coherent pitch. When I wanted to make a point, I could never find the conviction or the persuasive language to get my argument across, and often stayed silent at risk for embarrassing myself. More than anything, I think my time in the English department has shown me what it means to be a successful communicator and given me the confidence to work towards that goal. From reading the words of esteemed authors and poets in centuries present and past, we've observed the many ways in which words and author's voice are used to embolden stances, communicate thoughts, and share ideas. And responding to, discussing, and picking apart their works have been exercises of emulation, for all of us to practice the techniques that make for strong writing. Now, I'm not saying I'm a perfect communicator by any means. We've all only begun our foray after all. However, I can say with certainty that we've all made progress, and that the person standing here today is someone who speaks with a newfound intent, articulates with learned conviction, and writes with purposeful prose. And I can say that it is with certainty that it's my time in the English department and the support from its faculty and staff that has gifted me with the opportunity to make such a meaningful journey. The growth I have experienced in pursuit of the BA will make me, I know, a better physician, scientist, and global citizen. Going into college, many told me that interests change, and students often stray off their intended path. And I always saw that deviation as a bad thing, something to avoid at every cost. But I look now at where deviating got me, and how much I grew as a person as a result. Now, as I move on to the next chapter of my life, I see my journey as Duke as testament to the belief that sometimes wandering into the unknown can lead you to a brand new destination, better than the original one. A respected professor in the English department told me very recently that above all, one should be satisfied with what they choose to do, and that satisfaction comes from feeling you're exploring as many of your interests as you can. And he said sometimes that means forging your own path and creating possibilities you thought would never have existed. I'll take that mindset and squish it into my carry-on, taking it with me back home as a guideline for how to traverse my future. I'll embrace all the unknowns, the sudden interests, and the shakeups, not as instruments of distraction, but ones that are meant to hone my path and direct me through to my next destination, wherever that may be. Thank you so much, and congratulations, everyone.